Bonjour, Kinamagi and Ireland Dijnikas, and welcome to this production of the My Math Network. Today's lesson, Chapter 7, Lesson 9, Graph Patterns. View of the Lesson 8 homework with ordered pairs. And we can see that M was at 3 over, 7 up. Makes me kind of thirsty. P was at 6 over and 3 up. J was at 4 over and 5 up. If I went to 1 over and 3 up, it was N. 5 over and 6 up was L. And 0 over but 6 up was H. Remember to write these with a parentheses and a comma in between the numbers. What other pair goes at the location of the storage barn? That is 5 over and 6 up. What is located at 1 over and 7 up? The grain silo. How about at 6 over and 2 up? The chicken coop. Jimmy begins at the house. He walks to the horse barn, and then he walks 3 units up and 4 units right before returning back to the house. List the ordered pairs of the places Jimmy visits in the order he visits them. So the house is at 0, 0. Then he went to the horse barn at 1, 3. And then we go over to 5, 6 with the storage barn. And then back. That's where you're 1, 2, 3. Oh, here. Then vocabulary check. The second number is the y coordinate, and that corresponds to a number on the y-axis. Remember, the y-axis is the up and down, the vertical component, and the x-axis, the first number, is the horizontal component. And which one represents point D? That's 5 over, 2 up. All right, let's look at what assignment we have coming for today. We're going to graph patterns. This is where really the important part of being able to know coordinates is you're going to have to be able to graph things. I feel like it should be graphing patterns. Just saying. The English teacher means like graph patterns. It feels kind of choppy. You're going to look at data, and you're going to be able to turn it into coordinates on the plane, and you'll be able to visualize data. It's a pretty important skill, so hopefully pay close attention, because you will definitely do this in science, and you will definitely do this a lot of times before you complete your academic career. So that's going to be our key focus here. So let's look at our essential question for Chapter 7. How are patterns used to solve problems? I'm going to begin in the part that is not in your textbook, and the investigate the math portion. It says, how can a coordinate plane demonstrate mathematical relationships? Well, it helps me visualize them. Those coordinates, as you saw when one was going straight up or this way, I can kind of see the relationships between different patterns. All right, a pet care facility holds 3 dogs per kennel. They hold 6 cats per kennel. Find the total number of dogs and cats. On the next slide, graph the results as ordered pairs. So if there's 3 dogs per kennel, you'd be 1 and 3, 2 and 6, 3 and 9, 4 and 12, then 1 and 6, 2 and 12, 3 and 18. I believe that'll be up here. You can see the picture. And you can see that for the same number of kennels, the number of cats is going to grow quicker. That's something to pay attention to. So now we could graph that. And using the numbers right here, my kennels, I would have it 1 over and 3 up, 2 over and 6 up, 3 over and 9 up, 4 over and 12. This becomes the x-axis, the kennels, and the number of dogs would be on the y-axis. With the cats at 1 over and 6 up, 2 over and 12, 3 over and 18 up, 4 over and 24 up. Same thing, that top one is the x, the number of cats is the y. And you can start to see how it looks. When I graph it, I had the dogs 1 and 3, 2 and 6, 3 and 9, 4 and 12. And I could actually go ahead and graph that. And now I look at the kitty cats, and I'm at 1 and 6, 2 and 12, 3 and 18, 4 and 24. Once I connect them, and I love using different colors for this to help visualize, you can see that the number of cats is growing far quicker. And you've probably looked at these kind of graphs. I know if you were following certain health information in recent almost a year, you could see this kind of graph as part of it as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and clear that. But that's what we'll be working on. So let's go ahead and get into the book. And this is going to be found on page 531 in your packet. If you do not have your packet available, you should pause the video and go grab that. So example basic. Tricia and her friends decide to rent bicycles to ride on their weekend trip. Bikes and More charges $5 for each hour, and Adventure Bikes charges $10 for each hour. Find the cost of renting a bicycle from each store for 1, 2, 3, and 4 hours. So my first step is going to be to fill out these charts. So Bikes and More was $5. So 1 hour would cost me $5. 2 hours would cost me $10. 3 would cost me $15. And if you notice, I'm just multiplying the hours times 5. So the cost equals 5 times the number of hours. Adventure Bikes is $10, so the C is going to equal 10H. So 1 times 10 is 10. 2 times 10 is 20. 3 times 10 is 30. 4 times 10 is 40. So there are patterns here, and this one's going up by 5. On this one, it's going up by 10. Go ahead and fill out the remainder of that chart. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. And whenever you hear me say I'm about to clear the drawings, that's when you should pause the video if you need more time. That way you don't have to rush. It is expected that you should be filling these out as we go, so I understand. So I'm going to go ahead and clear the drawings. You can see our answers there. So now we need to generate ordered pairs. We got to line this up just so. There we go. So generate each, let the X coordinate represent the number of, if you saw it mentioned back there, hours. Let's use the text. It's neater than my penmanship with this. And let the Y coordinate represent the cost. So Bikes and More, remember it was 1 and 5, 2 and 10. So 2 hours was 10. 3 hours was $15. 4 hours was 20. I suddenly have coordinates. Isn't that sweet? Number of hours, the cost. Number of hours, cost. Number of hours, cost. Number of hours, cost. And we're going to do it the exact same way that we did the coordinates yesterday when we covered ordered pair. Adventure Bikes, it was a little more expensive per hour, so it was multiplied by 10. So 1 times 10 is 10, 2 times 10 is 20, 3 times 10 is 30, and 4 times 10 is 40. How much more would it cost to rent bicycles from 3 hours from Adventure Bikes and Bikes and More? Adventure Bikes, it was 30. Bikes and More is 15. So the answer is $15 more. ahead and make sure that's filled in. I'll give you a little bit of time to do that before I move on. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clear the drawing. You see the answer, so we did well there. All right, let's go example niche. And we're going to use the same data from the previous question. And we're going to graph each ordered pair. So when I do it, this is if you have colored materials, I recommend 2 different colors. If you don't, that's fine too. So let's start with both. I'm going to start here at 0. So I'm going to start with Bikes and More. That's our first one. They were at 1 hour was $5. 2 was 10. 3 was 15. And 4 was at 20. Notice they did skip a space, so 1.5 hours, 2.5 hours. Make that a little darker. That's our Bikes and More. How about it? And a lot of times too, I like to connect the lines the best I can. It's a little bit better visually as we go. So now let's look. I need a new color here. Let's not do this in the same color for the reasons I've already mentioned. Let's go blue. I think Mr. Ferrier isn't here to hear me say that. That was $10 an hour. So the first one was 1/10 or comma 10, 2 comma 20, 3 comma 30, 4 comma 40. I'm going to do the same thing here. And you can see that our adventure bikes is going to increasingly cost us a lot more money. The graph shows that the difference in cost between the 2 stores increases. So let's get the text or the neatness. As the number of hours increases. And I recommend you use the term increases versus goes up. Increase, decrease, those are very good words to use when we're talking about data. So go ahead and fill that in. Make sure you've got your bicycle costs charted in. I'll give you a moment here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clear the drawings. Remember to pause the video if you need to. You see the answer there. And it's not bad to label it. On my previous example, I wouldn't have heard if I had to put adventure bikes and put a blue dash next to it and Bikes and More and a red dash. Some kind of color code would be great. All right, so let's practice. We've been looking forward to this all day. There's nothing below that part, so we're good. Birdseed is sold in 8-pound bags and 24-pound bags at the local store. Find the weights of 1, 2, 3, and 4 bags of both sizes of bird feed. Complete the table below. So I'm going to start out. 1 bag is going to be 8 pounds. 2 bags, and you're just going to take the number of bags and multiply it by 8. So 2 times 8 is 16. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 8 is 32. 24 bags. Well, it's going to go up quicker. Think how many hours are in this number of days? 2 times 24 is 48. 3 times 24 is 72. And 4 times 24 is 96. Complete the tables below. Generate ordered pairs. Let each x coordinate represent the number of bags. and let the y coordinate the weight. So here's our x, here's our y, here's our x, and here's our y. Let's go ahead and write that in. Give me a moment here. I get this drink of tasty dish. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clear the drawings. You see the answers there. Now I'm going to turn it into some coordinates. And the 8-pound bags, it's the same numbers from the data that we just did. My X's and my Y's. Now the 24 bag. I don't know why I made it that close to it. So now I have my XY coordinates. How many more pounds of birdseed would there be if you purchased 2 bags of 24-pound birdseed than 2 bags of 8-pound? 48 minus 16, 32 pounds. And pounds is abbreviated LB or LBS. Let's go ahead and fill that in. There is no graphing to do on that one. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clear the drawing. See our answers. Explain how you would graph 2 real-world patterns using ordered pairs. We've been doing it a lot with using data about the current health situation, where you could graph the number of cases each day, or you could graph the 7-day average. Those would actually be 2 different things. You could look at the number of wins in a sport versus another team, if they're winning the same amount each year. You could say, if I'm holding 1 8-ounce water or 1 12-ounce water, what's the difference going to be? So there's a lot of things that we could use for patterns of ordered pairs, not just comparing with 2, but in a lot of other situations as well. All right, I'm going to give you a practice one. This is going to be the practice. What I'll ask you to do is solve this, and this is on 533. When you're done with that problem, you will go ahead and unpause the video and see how you did. So you may pause the video now. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. Speedy Cab, $2 per mile. You can see each mile, $2. Purple Cab was $4. Does the difference in cost between the 2 taxi service increase or decrease? And it does increase. And you can see the Purple Cab and the Speedy Cab. Let's do one more. Number 3. Same thing applies. I'm going to ask you to pause the video in a moment. You're going to solve it. You're going to unpause the video and come back. You may pause the video now. All right, let's see how you did. I know you knocked it out of the park. $9 an hour, so 1 times 9, 2 times 9, 3 times 9, and 4 times 9. Carmen's hourly wages, she only makes $3 an hour, so 1 times 3, 2 times 3, 3 times 3, and 4 times 3. You can see it on the graph here. This hours is the X. The money earned is the Y. And how much more money would Jennifer make if both girls worked 3 hours? So I can compare the 27 minus the 9 is $18. At this point, you can go to the homework assignment. And this is what we'll be doing here. There are multiple ways to submit this. If you're in class, you're going to do it on paper, most likely, and then just turn it in. If you're in a group that's coming in another day, you will be able to turn it in at your next available school day. If you want to and you're at home, you could do this, put your name on both sides, take a picture, scan it, and email or text it to me. Or you could solve it and then go ahead and submit it via the Google form. When you have graphing, it is probably better to do the paper copy and then submit. But I know that some of you want to make sure it's marked as done quicker than that, and I understand that fully. If you have any questions on this content, please reach out to me via email or join us in class. I hope you have a Minogijigad. Minwa, Pamapi.